Okay. Okay. All right. So I hope your software installation part is done, except Atharva and Ankita. Have you all? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So Atharva and Ankita, I have given the instructions to, we'll be using Jupyter Notebook. So we'll be working with Anaconda Navigator using Anaconda. So Anaconda first you have to install. From there we'll be using the Jupyter Notebook. So I want you to install that. I have given the instructions here. So the recordings will also be available. Even I have shared the link to download Anaconda. I've provided here it in the chat box. You just have to go there, go to the visit official website of Anaconda. Just do the download process and install it. Nothing too much complicated process you have to do, and it's bit time consuming process. So I hope you will be able to manage on your own. So please try it off after today's session. If you face any difficulties, please get back to me.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So let's begin our sessions. Let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
okay, okay. So we have seen the features of Python. We just had an overview of what the features of Python are in our last session, right? So let's start with the technical concepts today. So let's begin by understanding. So first we'll be discussing the topic. Handling inputs and outputs in Python. Not visible, Snehal?
Yes, ma'am, it is not visible.
Okay, Snehal, I think some network issues might be. You can try rejoining because others can see, right? So you can try rejoining and check if the screen is visible then.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So handling inputs and outputs in Python. So what do you mean by this input and output? Let's begin by understanding handling output in Python. So what do you mean by this output?
To go on to the claims phase 2 option. So recently I would say
Desired output, what we are expecting from our data set, a refined data.
Yes, that is the output of your program. Whatever the statements you have done, the outputs of your program, that if you want to communicate to your user, we normally display it on the screen. So how we can display our output onto the screen? That's what we mean by handling output in Python. So to handle output in Python, we have an inbuilt method called as print. We call the print method, and suppose if you want a text to be displayed, say hello, enclose your text within the double quotes as an argument to your print method. This single line of code will display a statement hello onto the screen. Got it? So if we try to execute, so let's start with the Anaconda. So this is the Anaconda Navigator page that you have. From here, you will have to launch the Jupyter Notebook. So this is the home page that I got. So what I want you to do is I would like all of you to create a folder and you can keep a backup of the day-to-day programs that we do. You can put it inside your folder. So to get started with, you can create this folder anywhere. Okay, so let me create here it in home page itself. Suppose if you want to create into your desktop, you can click on desktop here. You have an option desktop. or if you want to put it in any other paths like documents, if you want, you can. So wherever you want your folder to be, you can choose your path. So let me create it here in desktop. To create a folder, you can go to the new option here. You have a folder option. Hit on the folder. So this creates an untitled folder. You can see an untitled folder here. Please click on this small square box. Then you will get an option rename. You can rename your folder. Rename your folder, whatever name you want, you can give to your folder. So I have my folder now called as Python class. I hope you are able to do. Let me know if you all are doing along with me. Have you all created your folder?
Yes, ma'am.
Now open that folder. Just click on to the folder, whatever you have created. You will be inside your folder. So into this folder, you have to add your Jupyter notebooks. So for the same, click on new, hit on Python 3. Open your folder, enter inside your folder. You have a new option wherein you have Python 3. So this will open up a Jupyter notebook, and here you can rename your file. Hit on the rename option and name your file. So this is the Jupyter notebook that you have opened with, and we'll be writing our code here. Are you all able to do? Have you all created your folder?
Yes, ma'am. Folder created.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Created.
Okay. So this is the Jupyter notebook, and these are called as cells wherein you'll be writing your code to be evaluated or executed. So we are talking about handling outputs in Python. And one more thing, in Python, to comment any particular line, we will use this hash symbol. So what do you mean by comments? What do you mean by comments? What are comments?
It gives us the more information regarding any function. Like if we want to write anything in comments, we can write in detail.
Yes.
Mm.
So these are
It's not an
used for,
executable piece of information, but it's just for
yes,
the information of a programmer.
yes. That is, these are the non-executable piece of code or thing, and it's used for documentation purpose. For example, if you want to elaborate a meaning like what these lines of code are doing, then you can use a comment corresponding to that line. So comments are done in Python using the hash symbol. So if I say handling output, this will not be executed. So this is for the documentation purpose. Now coming back to our statement print, I will use the print method and I'll enclose the statement or text hello within the quotes. If I run this code, so running the code, you can either hit this run button or you can use the shortcut key Shift Enter. So this runs this particular cell and it is displaying your output hello. Can you see the output hello that is displayed? So in Python, the print function is used to display a statement onto the screen. And the statement or text that you have to display should be enclosed within double quotes. Execute and see. I would all of you to execute and verify your outputs.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. I would like to hear from all. Anybody facing any issues?
Ma'am, done.
No, ma'am.
Okay, what's the problem?
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Anybody facing any issues? I hope it's working with all, correct? Now see. Give a statement like this. Hi. In the same cell, I'm adding another line of code. So now you know this is going to display hi and hello, correct? So print method displays a statement or displays your data. So hi is displayed, hello is displayed. I'm executing this. You could see hi is printed onto the first line, hello is printed onto the second line. Correct? Now, I have one more parameter with print method. If I said hi, I used the comma operator. I used a parameter called as end. If I am saying end is equal to, I'm giving a character, say star. Fine, I'm giving the instruction again print. I'm giving a statement hello. So what's the difference between these two cells? Both are used to display your outputs. In the first case, I didn't use a end parameter with the print method. Simply, I used a print method. I'm executing this cell, so now you will get to know the difference. In the first cell, hi was printed onto the first line, hello was printed onto the second line. When I used the end parameter here, after printing hi or after displaying hi, at the end, it is placing a character asterisk instead of a new line. So what you have to note here is, if you are not specifying end parameter to your print method, by default, end is considered as a new line. So what happens in this cell when you use the print without an end? It displays hi. By default, end is taken as a new line. So it displays hi and then it prints a new line, displays a new line. Onto that new line, the next statement hello is displayed. Again, with hello also, you have not used the end parameter. So it prints a new line after your hello. Whereas when you are explicitly writing an end parameter, that new line is now changed to a character star. So hi is displayed followed by the character star. And then it displays hello. So instead of new line, now I added a character star. So it displays hi first, followed by a character, and then it displays hello. After hello, it displays new line because I have not explicitly given any parameter to int or any values to int. So by default, it takes it as a new line. Following me? Please execute and verify your outputs.
Done, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Let's wait for all. Let me know if anybody facing any issues. If you require more time, please let me know.
Done, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Done, ma'am.
All right. All right. So that's the keys of displaying a text or a statement onto the screen. Suppose I want to display, or suppose if I want to handle a data, say for example, I want to handle a numeric data with Python. I want to store a value 10. So for this, to store this value, definitely I will require a space in memory. Correct? I will require some space from my memory, and this location definitely it's going to have an address. Let me call the address, or let me say that, or let me assume the address to be 0x100. Same way, if I have the data 20, I will store this data 20 to some part of my location. Let it be at a location of 200. If I want to handle a character, let me say that it is stored to a location of 300. Like that, the data are getting stored into some parts of your memory, and every data will have a location or address corresponding to that memory. Tell me, how do you retrieve these data from memory? How can I retrieve these data? Or how can I access these data from memory?
By using some references.
By using some references. That is, as of now, the only available information that you have is their addresses. Correct? As of now, we have only information about their addresses. So referring to the address, I can access these data, 10, 20, C, etc. But addresses are not that easy to handle. They will not be like 0x100. That's going to be some huge numbers. So accessing the data members through addresses is a little hectic process. So what I do here is, instead of retrieving the data by referring to their addresses, I will use variable names to refer to these data. Let me say A. Let me say B. Let me say C here. So I make use of variables here to store my data. So variables are simply the named memory locations. So instead of referring to these addresses to access the elements from my memory, I will start referring to the variable names. So variable names are much easier for me to handle than the addresses. So if I want to access this element 10, I will refer to it by the variable name A. If I want to access 20, I will refer to it through the variable name B. If I want to access the character C, I will refer it through the variable name C. So variables are named memory locations which is used to store your data. Right? Following me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So how to use variables? So it is simply like, if I know your names, it is easy for me to call you, right? I can call you easily by your names. Like for example, I can call Netra. I can easily refer to you by your names. Whereas if I'm not knowing your names, if I know only your addresses, it's not that easy for me, right? Your address, if I have to refer to you through your address, I'll have to remember your house name. I'll have to know your pin code. I'll have to know your locality, etc., etc., etc. So that is going to be a hectic process. It's not that that's not possible. It is possible, but that is little difficult to process. So easier is what? If I know your name, just by your name, I can reach you, right? I can call Ankita, I can call Netra. So just by your names, it's easy for me to access you. Same thing here also for our variables. You can access your variables by referring to their addresses, but more easier way is referring to them through their variable names. So these variable names are also referred to as identifiers. Identifiers refers to the names of variables, or it could be the names of functions or classes or anything. Any name that you use to refer to your data is in general called as identifiers. Okay, so let's come back to variables. So when we say variables in Python, you don't have to specify the data type of the variable priorly. Those who have worked with C or C++, you will know that before using a variable, you will have to specify the data type of a variable. For example, int A or float B, etc., etc. But in Python, that's not required. The data type of a variable is going to be depending on the data with which you assign it. For example, if I use the variable name as A, if I assign this A with a numeric data, the data type of A will be integer. If I assign A with a float value 1.2, the data type of A will be float. If I assign with a string C or a character C, now the data type will be the string. So what are data types? What do you mean by data types? What do you mean by data types? What are data types? Yes. What are data types? Data types gives information about the type of data. What kind of data is a variable handling or your program handling? Is it a numeric type? Is it a string type? Or is it any other sequence types of data that you're handling? So it gives an information about the type of data that you will be handling, right? So the data types are classified to various. There are various categorization of data types that is happening in Python. So let's first start by looking into the numeric data types that is available in Python. Numeric data type, you have to handle integer type of data, we have the int. To handle float kind of data, that is float kind of data means what? Datas with decimals. So to handle decimal kinds of data, data with a decimal value, you have the float data type. And another data type that is available in Python is complex. If you have data with real and imaginary part, you have the complex data types that is available in Python. So in Python, I told you at the beginning, it's an object-oriented programming language. Everything in Python is looked upon as objects. So this int, float, complex are all objects of inbuilt classes integer, float, and complex. We'll talk more about class and object concepts later on. So as of now, keep in mind, to handle the integer data, you have the int data type. To handle float, that is decimal data, you have the float data type. For complex data, you have the complex data types available. So if I initialize A with the integer data, I'm saying A equal to 10. And you have an inbuilt method in Python called as type. So type method is used to check the data type of a variable. So if I say type of A, this gives us type of, that is the data type. Data type of A. So if I execute this cell, can you see the output as int? Means A is a variable whose data type is integer. A is capable of handling integer types of data. So I have initialized my A with 10 and integer data. So the data type of A is going to be integer type. If I have initialized my A with some float value, 1.2. Now if I check the type of A, this will be float. If I initialize my A with a complex type is 1 plus, say, 3j. Real part and an imaginary part. If I check the type of A, it is complex. So these are the numeric data types that is available in Python. Int, float, complex. Are you all able to follow me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So please verify these outputs. I want you all to execute this and implement and understand. If you face any difficulty, please let me know.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, in the last complex data type, you have run both the commands in the same cell. That you have assigned one variable and immediately you have checked for the type data type in the same cell. So is this specifically it has done because if I have
No. You can put it in different cells also.
okay.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
Let's wait for others as well.
Done, ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, it's just a small query. Just for the sake of the example, I have mentioned a equal to 1 plus 5t, but I
No,
got a syntax error. Yeah.
J. Use a J for complex data type.
Okay. Is it it's specifically J only, or
Yes,
I
it
can't use
is
any
J.
other? Okay. I
No,
can't
you
use any
cannot
other
use.
alphabet.
No, it is J. For complex data, the imaginary part is represented with J in Python. You cannot change that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good question. You'll have to use the imaginary part as J. Don't use any other variable. Use J. Okay, now let's come back to our display statement. I want to display a statement like this. That is, I have the value of A as, in this case, it is 1 plus 3j. The latest value of A is 1 plus 3j. So I want you to display the value of like A equal to whatever the value of A you have. So in this case, I have 1 plus 3j. I want you to frame a print statement in such a way that it is displaying A equal to along with the value of A. So how can we use the print statement to display the value of a variable, the content of a variable? So it is simply you use the print statement and A equal to, this is a text that you are displaying, right? The value, that text is not going to change. Always it is like A equal to. The value of A might change at any other point of time or later in your program. The value of A might change. So what you have to do is put your text within quotes, hi, hello, etc. The next is the content of a variable that you are trying to display. So after this quotes, come out of this quotes, use a comma operator, give the name of the variable whose value you want to display. So if I give A here, this is going to display an output like A equal to followed by the content of variable A. So if I execute this cell, can you see A equal to, it is displaying the value of A, that is 1 plus 3j. If I use any other variable, let me say B is equal to 12. If I write a display statement to print the value of B, I will have to say B equal to followed by the comma operator and then the variable name B. You can see B is equal to 12 is displayed. All right. So use the statements, the text always within double quotes, put a comma operator, give the name of the variable whose value you have to display. Please verify.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. If
Done,
that is
ma'am.
the case, yes, somebody was trying to ask something.
No, done, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So you know how to display the contents of variables like A, B, etc. What I want you to do is formulate your print statement in such a way that I'm getting an output like A equal to whatever the value of A. In my case, I have 1 plus 3G. And B equal to whatever the value of B in single line. Formulate your print statement in such a way that it is displaying A equal to the value of A and B equal to the value of B into a single line of code. Into a single line. The output should be in single line. How will you formulate your print statement to display this output? Start doing. Write a print statement in such a way that you are getting an output like this. A equal to whatever the value of A and B equal to whatever the value of B. Try to implement. Those who have done, you can share your codes in the chat box. Okay, I'm getting multiple outputs. Okay, Netra, I've copied your program. Okay, Netra and Shreya has used two print statement. Disha, A equal to A and B equal to. Yes, Disha has used one statement. Netra and Shreya tried to use a single print statement. I don't want you to use multiple print statement. Use a single print statement. Yes, Disha, your code is fine. Yes, Atharva, your code is fine. Yes, I would like to see the outputs from all. Yes, Neha, fine. Netra, please share your screen if you're facing error.
Yes, ma'am.
So most of you are able to solve. Don't use like this. Print A equal to. Don't use end in this case. If you give positional arguments means like A within quotes and then A, right?
Yeah.
So comma and yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Now it's fine. Yes, so most of you are able to solve. So what you have to do, let me take one of your codes. Okay, let me copy Ankita's code. This is how Ankita has solved A equal to. So this is printing the statement or text A equal to followed by A displaying the value of A. And then and again a text that is displayed followed by another text B equal to and then the value of B. If I execute this, invalid syntax. You can check this. Right? So now I'm getting the value of A followed by and B equal to value of B. So I'll show you one more method by which you could solve this. Okay. So if you have multiple values to be displayed, other than going like inverted quotes, comma, then the variable name, another method that you could adopt is the format method, or we will say formatting of print. So how you can format your print statement is, you will use the print command. You want what a statement A equal to. So use it as it is. Then we are expecting to print a value. So use curly brackets. Give an index value. I will tell you what these indices are. 0, and b equal to, we want a value to be displayed. So again, use the curly brackets. Let me give the index value as 0. Then use a dot operator, format method. As an argument to format method, I will say a comma b. So what happens here in this print method is, the indices of these format are the arguments of these format method is, the first argument here or parameter here has an index value 0. The second argument here has an index value 1. So if you had one more, it would have been 2. So indexing here is referring to the values of arguments of the format method. So when I say a equal to, within the curly brackets, I have given the index value as 0. So what it does here is, it displays the content of the first variable that you have specified here. What is the first variable that I have given? A. So it displays the content of your variable A. In my case, it is 1 plus 3j. Then you have a text and. So it displays and. Again, another text B equal to, followed by you have a curly bracket. So this is intending to print the content of a value. Whose value? Index value 1. Index value 1 is corresponding to the second parameter of this format method. My second parameter is variable B. So this displays the content of variable B. Content of my variable B is 12. So this is also going to get me the output as same like the previous case, A equal to the value of A followed by B equal to the value of B. So this is another way by which you could display multiple data using a single print statement. Suppose, listen here, I'm changing this. I'm making this as 1 and this as 0. Will there be any change in my output?
Yes.
What will be your output now?
A will display B's value.
Yes, exactly. A will display B's value. A equal to, it will display the value of B. Because you have the index value, I have given 1. 1 will correspond to the second parameter. Second parameter is nothing but B. So it prints like A equal to whatever the value of B is, 12. And B equal to, it is 0. Index value 0 I have given. So 0 corresponds to the first parameter, that is A. I have given the variable name as A. So it displays the content of variable J. So if I change the indices, this would have been my output. So please verify it.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Let's wait for all.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Understood? Are you all following what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. Okay. So let's try one more example. Let me say that I have A as 10, B as 100, C as 1000, and E as 10,000. Formulate your print statement accordingly and display the values of A, B, C, and D. Take the values of A, B, C, and D as shown and display the same using a single print statement. I recommend you to use the format method.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Please share your code in chat box.
Done, ma'am. Also shared the code.
A equal to 0, B equal to 1, C equal to 2. Yes, fine. Yes, Priya, fine. Netra, fine. Yes, they help fine. Yes, Disha, fine. Yes, Shreya, fine. So what you have to do? We will call the print method. Within quotes, A equal to, this is the first value that I want to print. So I'll give the index value as 0, comma, B equal to, then the next value, B equal to, next value, D equal to the next value. I'll call the format method. I will pass A, B, C, and D. So I hope now all are clear with the display method, displaying your outputs, the print method.
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's see how we could handle inputs in Python. So handling inputs means what? Reading your data from input. Till now, we were directly assigning values to your variables like A equal to 10 or B equal to 100, etc. So the programmer was assigning values to your variables. Instead of that, now we will see how we can read a value from the keyboard. For this, we will use a method called as input. So if I say S is equal to, I want to read a data to my variable S. I will use the input method. And so when I use the input method, it will open up a console. So beside the console, you can give a message to the user. So here, let me put it like enter a number. So I'm going to execute this. You can see a console that has opened up here. And beside that, you could see the message that I have given here, enter a number. If I give 12 and then if I hit the enter button, how do I check if the value is read properly or not? How can I check the value?
Print that statement and check.
Yes, I can use the display method. If I simply say print of S, it will display the content of my variable S. S without quotes means what? It is displaying the content of my S. So yes, the 12 which I gave from the keyboard is read properly to my variable S. Because when I displayed the content of S, I was getting the value as 12 which I gave from the keyboard. So input method is used to read a value from the keyboard. Please verify.
Yes, done, ma'am.
Okay. I hope all have completed. Anybody needs more time? Okay. So I have given a number 12 from the keyboard to the variable s. So you all are now familiar with the type method. Take the type of s. What will be your output?
Integer.
Integer. Let me execute this. Am I getting integer as my output? I'm getting str. Str means string. So this is a problem with your input method. Input method processes all your data, whatever that you have read from the keyboard as a string. So though we are entered a number 12, it is taken as a string by the Python. So what you have to do is here, whenever you use an input method to read a number, you will have to perform typecasting. The typecasting means what? Typecasting means what?
Changing the data type.
Yes, changing from one data type to another. So what do we have here? S is of type str. I want to change this str to what? Integer type. So what will I do is, I will specify the name of my new data type. What is the new data type? Integer, to the one which I'm converting. I will use the small parenthesis and I will give the name of the existing data, that is S. So what this statement does is, whatever the data type of S is, that will be converted to integer. Let me store it to a variable, say C. C will have the integer type of S. Let me execute this. Let me print your C. It is 12. Let me check the type of C. So now it is integer. So I'll say here that I have typecasted my S to integer. So this is how you do typecasting. So for the previous program, instead of writing this in multiple lines, what I'm going to do here is, whenever you use the input method to read a number to handle a numeric data, you could do the typecasting in one step. What I will do is, here I will say int. Whatever the data I'm reading here through the input method, this will be converted to integer. So input enter a number. This number, whatever you give here, will be in the form of str, the data type str. So that str is now converted to integer. You can write in multiple lines also, no problem, but you could have the same in single line of code as well. So now if I input a number, let me say 12. If you display your S and if you check the type of S, now can you see it is integer type. So this you will be familiar because most of the cases you will have to do the same whenever you intend to work with numeric types of data by reading the value from the keyboard. Following me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah, please verify your outputs.
Done, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Let me know if all of you have verified.
Yes, done, ma'am.
Okay. So this is about handling outputs and inputs in Python. So to handle output, that is to display a data onto the screen, we will use the print method. And to read a data from the keyboard, we will use the input method. Make a note that the input method, whatever the data it is processing, that will be read in the form of a string. So if you intend to work with numeric data, you will have to do a typecasting operation.
Ma'am, is this the same way to handle the characters also? Character data types?
Yes, character
And
data, same.
okay. And is the same way we are displaying the characters, so means output, the output conditions will be the same also
Yes,
for the
yes,
character,
same,
print
same.
only.
We will
Okay.
do that separately. We'll
Okay.
do with sequence data types.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So are you all clear with input and output handling in Python? Anybody facing any issues?
Ma'am, so when we take the input from the keyboard, so we have to always typecast it, right?
If you intend to work with the data as numeric type, you will have to typecast. If you want to read a string, then typecasting is not required. But if you want to work with some numeric data, then you have to do the typecasting.
Okay.
Right. So now, let me give you the classification or overview of what the data types or what all types of data types are available in Python. And we will see one by one. So now you know what a data type is, and we have already discussed about the numeric data types. Numeric data types you have integer, float, and complex. Another category is sequence type of data. What do you mean by sequence type? What are sequence types? So far in float, complex and all, you were able to handle only one data at a time, like 10 or 20 or 3.5 or 1 plus 3j, etc. Suppose if you need to handle a group of data, more than one value, then you could make use of a sequence types of data. And in sequence type of data, the elements could be accessed sequentially, that is one after the other. So the sequence data types that is available in Python are list, tuple, and string. These are all the sequence data types available in Python. Now, the other data types that you have in Python are, you have bool data type to handle logical types of data. Another is you have set. And the last one is you have dictionary. These are the data types that is available in Python. To handle numeric, you have int, float, and complex. Sequence types, you have list, tuple, and string. And other types are bool, set, and dictionary. I want all of you to make a note of the same. Quickly make a note, and then we will start discussing about the string data type in Python.
Ma'am, after Boolean, what is it return in the next two boxes?
Set and dictionary. Set and dictionary.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. So let's move with strings in Python. So let's say my variable is A. Suppose if I want to assign this A with a string. The strings are enclosed always in double quotes. Or you could use single quotes. In Python, there is no difference between enclosing your string or character in double quotes and single quotes. They could use interchangeably. If I say I want a string hello. String means what? What is a string?
Group of characters.
Sorry?
Group of characters.
Group of characters. So A is equal to hello. Let me check the type of A. It is str. Str means it is string. If I say B equal to, let me display your A as well. Print A. It is hello. If I say B equal to, let me use single quotes to handle the string. So let me say hi. Let me check the type of B. It is str. Let me display my B. The content of B, which is your string hi, all is displayed. So in Python, there is no difference between using double quotes or single quotes for your strings. You could use them interchangeably. Check your outputs. So this is how we create a string in Python. Let me know if you have
Done, ma'am.
verified. Okay.
Yeah. Done.
Now, suppose if you have to handle multi-lines of strings or multiple lines of string, you will have to use triple quotes. If I say C is equal to, I'm using triple quotes. If I say hi, hello all, welcome. So there are three lines of, three different lines for my string. So if you intend to handle string in multiple lines, then you will have to enclose it within triple quotes. If you check the type of C, that will be again str, string. Though there are multiple lines, still the data type that is handling your data will be str. So please verify. So to handle multiple lines, we will have to use triple quotes.
Done, ma'am.
Done, ma'am. But for then characters.
Sorry? Character, we
Um,
are coming to that. For character also,
okay.
it is the data type is str only in Python. So you have a
Okay.
group of characters, or if you have an individual character, the data type is str. For example, if I say t is equal to, if I say a character capital A. If I check the type of T, str. Individual character and the string both are handled by the data type str in Python.
Okay, ma'am.
If you have verified this, you can try this program. Read the name, age, ID, and salary of an employee and display the details. Read the name, age, ID, and salary of an employee and display the same. That is, display the name, age, ID, salary, whatever you have read for the employee. Start doing. I'll put the code in chat. I'll put this question in the chat box. Those who have done can share your code in the chat box. Priya, you have not typecasted your entities like age, then ID, salary. Every data will be in the form of a string. So only the name is going to be a string here. The rest of all are numeric data types. So do the typecasting, rest of the code is fine. Yes, Netra, fine.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, ma'am, actually, I have written the code, but just like the input the system is asking, if we are entering n is equal to input
Hmm.
enter name, it is
Hmm.
given me an when it executed, it gives an a window to enter my
Hmm.
input.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
whenever I'm trying to get a age or any other things, it is not allowing me to so giving me a window, something like that. It's not showing any error, but it's not giving me an
Can you share
window
me your
to.
screen? Share your
Sure.
screen with me.
Okay. Just a minute, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Are you able to see it, ma'am?
I guess it's coming. I could see a black screen.
Okay. Is it?
Yes, yes, I can see. One
It's
second.
just like over here, whenever we are entering in a name,
Mm.
it's giving
Your
me a
kernel
window.
is stuck, CC. Your kernel is stuck. At the top, untitled, your Jupyter notebook, can you see that mark, like what do you call that? No, top,
This one?
hourglass kind of thing. Can you see where your Jupyter notebook name, untitled Jupyter notebook?
Yeah, yeah, this one.
No, top, can you see an hourglass kind of
Oh,
thing?
oh, yeah, yeah, this one. Okay,
This
at the
means
taskbar.
that your code is still running.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
So it's
it's still
taking a long
processing.
time.
It's taking, you could, sometimes your kernel creates some issues. Go to kernel.
Okay,
You have an option here, kernel, just before the run button, on top of run,
top of
kernel,
run. Yeah, yeah.
kernel.
So,
Ah,
yes,
yes, click on that. You can
it is.
just restart and clear all your outputs and then
Okay,
start it.
okay, will do, ma'am. Thank
Yeah,
you.
okay. I hope all are able to solve.
Yes, ma'am.
So you could also try it like this. I have taken name. See, try to use appropriate variable names so that you could associate with your data. I've seen people writing A, B, C, D. So A is, I hope now since you're writing only few lines of code, you will know what your A, B, C, and D is. Once you're writing bigger codes, it might be difficult for you to relate what A is, what B is. Okay. So I have used the variable name to store the name of the employee. So I'm asking the user to enter the name using the input method. So name is a string data. So I'm not typecasting it here. Then ID, age, salary. Salary, I have taken it as a float value. It's up to you. You can keep it as either integer or float, whatever it is. So what I have done here is the string type is now typecasted to float. Now I've just given a print statement saying employee details so that it is just for a better display. I have used this statement. Then I'm saying name. As you know, I'm using the format method. This slash n is for printing a new line. So if you don't want name, ID, age, salary, everything to be displayed onto a single line, if you want them to be displayed in different lines, you can use slash n wherever you intend to print a new line. So what I have done here is name, then I want the first variable value to be displayed. So that is name here. So it displays the name, whatever the value I have given for name. I have given it as XXX. So it displays name followed by XXX. Then it's a new line. Now, after saying slash n, it prints a new line. Onto that new line, I'm displaying ID and again to new line age and then salary. I'll execute this cell once. It is asking me to enter the name. So let me give my name. It is asking the ID. Then age, then salary, some value I'm giving, 0.89. So it is displaying the employee details. These are the values that I read from the keyboard. And after reading all the values, I'm displaying the rest using the print statement. I'll share this code in the chat box as well. Those of you who want to refer can take a look. I guess most of you were able to solve. Anybody stuck at any point? Any confusions? Is everything fine? Okay. Let's move with the next part. So now you all know how to create a string, right? Now, next, let's see how we can access the elements of a string. So I told you string is a sequence type of data. So sequence means the elements will be arranged in a sequence one after the other. So to access the elements of a string, we will use indexing technique. And indexing in Python always starts with 0. Indexing starts with 0. That means, let's say we have a string hello. If I want to access the first character, for example, if I want to access this H, how I will access is, let me display the first character. So I'll use a print method. I will use the string name. String name is what? The variable, that is S. I will use the array subscript operator or the square brackets. I will give the index associated with character H. So H is the first element, the index value is 0. So S of 0 will give me the first character of my string. So internally, the string hello will be stored like this. Corresponding to each character, you have a associated indices. That is, indexing starts with 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I say S of 0, it will access the first character, that is H. If I say S of 1, it will give me E. If I say S of 2, it will give me L. If I say S of 4, it gives me the character O, the last element of my string. Following me? Just verify, please verify if you can access all the elements of your string through indexing technique.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Now, so these are all positive indices or positive indexing, wherein you start from the first character of your string, move towards the last character. Same way you have something called as negative indexing. Negative indexing starts from -1 from the last character to the first character of your string. Negative indexing starts with -1. So if I say S of -1, it will give me the last character of my string. So S of -1 is referring or accesses the character O. S of -3 will access the character L. So S of -5 access the character H. So you can use either positive indexing or negative indexing to access the elements of your string. Please verify.
Yes, done, ma'am.
Okay. I would like to hear from all.
Done, ma'am.
Okay.
Done, ma'am.
Understood indexing technique? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So now we were accessing only individual characters, like one character at a time, H or E or L, etc. What if you want to access multiple elements of your string, or if you're trying to create a subset of your string, or if you're trying to slice your string, cut down your string, what you can do? For this, how you have to do is, if I say f of 0, I will use the colon operator. So 0 is the starting index. Colon, if I say 3, this will access all the elements present at the 0th index, first and second. 3 is not included. Okay, S of 0:3 means it will access all the elements present at the 0th index, first index, and the second index. 3 is not included. So your output will be H, E, and L. I have given 0:3. So it will access 0, 1, and 2. 3 is not included. Always the second index value that you specify here, this is not included. Please verify.
Done with, ma'am. Also checked with the negative indexing also.
Yes, yes. Try with negative indexing as well.
Checked.
Negative indexing is little tricky.
Oh, you have to start from the higher end side. Means you just have to use -5 colon -2, something like that.
Try it out. I hope all are able to solve. If you face any queries or any issues, please don't hesitate to ask. If you're stuck with any errors, please ask me, share your screen with me. I'll try to help you out. Okay. Verified?
Yes.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
in this
Yes.
case, yeah. So in this case, when I gave 0:3, I'll say the step size here is 1. That means it was moving forward with one step. 0, then 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, etc. If I add one more parameter here, that is, let me take a large value. If I'm saying 0:5:2, I will say this 2 as the step size. So now how it will proceed is, it starts with 0. 0 plus 2, that is 2. 2 plus 2, 4. So now it is going to move in the positive direction, 2 step size ahead. So then what will be the output for this? So by default, I will say the step size is 1. If you want to change the step size, you can provide it as a third value. This is always the starting. This is always the ending. And this third one is going to represent as the step size, the step value. By how many times you have to move forward. If it is positive, it moves forward. Otherwise, it moves backward. So what will be the output for this display statement? 0:5:2. So this is our string is hello. So 0 means it access H. Plus 2, at 2 you have L. Again plus 2, that's 4. So H, L, O. Correct? Am I correct? Am I correct or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's
Yes.
verify. Let's verify. H, L, and O. Yes, yes, Ankita, correct. So verify this. So using indexing technique, try to reverse your string. Using indexing technique, try to reverse your string. Implement this. Reverse your string using indexing technique. Let me see who's going to get me the output. Zero colon 5 minus 1. Ankita, have you executed it? Snehal, -1 colon -7. Please execute and verify your outputs all. Okay. And if you're getting outputs, you can share your code here. Yes, Priya, correct. -1 colon -6 -1. Correct. Good. Snehal, if you give -1 simply colon -7, the default step size is +1. So -1 with a step size of +1, how will you move forward? So this will give you some empty output. Yes, Shreya. -1 colon -6 colon -1. Fine, correct. Yes, Neha, fine. So to reverse your string, what you have to do is, the string name is S. You start from -1 colon, you end with -6. Why -6 and not -5? If you say, yeah, -5 will not be included. So if I say -5, the first character will not be included. It stops with E. So I don't want that. I want the H also to be included. So I give the range as -6 colon, my step size is -1. So this will reverse my string. Okay. Understood? So another way is, you could also say S of all colon -1. That means you leave the rest as empty. Starting and ending, you leave it as empty and give only the step size. This also will reverse your string. So I have not specified the starting index or the ending index. I have left it as empty. This space I have left empty. This place also I have left it empty. I gave only the steps. So this is also reversing your string. So you can try that method as well. Completed? Completed? Okay, okay. Netra, what is the meaning of 0:5 minus 1?
Ma'am,
From
0.
0, from 0, can you move backward? 0 minus 1, you cannot move backward. From 0, you cannot move backward. That means if you use positive indices, you can move only in forward direction. If you use negative indexing, use the negative step size so that you can move in the reverse direction. Okay, this means that from 0, it cannot move backward. Step size plus and minus here means if it is plus, it is moving forward. Minus means it is moving backward.
Okay.
So just quickly go through what we have discussed today. If you have any queries, please clear it. So we started with discussing about the handling of inputs and outputs in Python. So to handle output, we were using the print method. So we started first with printing text. And then we discussed about the numeric data types. Numeric data types, int, float, and complex. And then we discussed about using the print statement to display the values of your variables. We have gone through what a variable is. And then we discussed about the input method, which is used to read a data from the keyboard. And then what did we discuss? We discussed an overview of which all data types are available in Python. And we started with the sequence data types. That is, we started with strings. We have seen how to create a string, how to access the elements of a string. Right? Understood up to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Just practice. Again, go through the programs, whatever we have done. And if you face any queries, let's discuss tomorrow. Or you can put it here in the chat box as well. When I get time, definitely I'll revert back to you. So if nothing to be discussed, let's break for the day and we'll catch up tomorrow. So are you all able to follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, guys, then let's meet tomorrow. Let's wind up for the day. Okay. So bye-bye all. Take care.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Yes,
Bye,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.